All right, now SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga has been monitoring proceedings at the tribunal and joins us now live with the very latest. Good afternoon, Canny. Perhaps to start right where Masuku ended there. He's the legal representative for Ms. Nana Makhubele. What exactly was he saying around the need to exercise some level of restraint when it comes to the name calling and everything that she's been subjected to?
Well, good afternoon to you, Nomfunda, and to the viewers at home. Of course, the tribunal has now wrapped up its work and is now going to be preparing a report to hand over to the JSC, which will determine the future, I guess, of suspended Judge Tintswalo Makhubele. Now, what you saw was, I guess, opening remarks by Advocate Masuku, Senior Counsel, on behalf of Judge Makhubele. He was addressing the various terms that have been used or thrown around, strong terms he describes them as, towards the judge in this process, arguing that these terms will exist long after the tribunal has completed its work and irrespective of the finding that it makes. And he was addressing the tribunal and the parties in there to approach this issue with fairness and to be circumspect when using different terms or throwing around allegations, as they can stick long after the tribunal has sat and made its findings, stating that this is still a judge and needed to be treated with the kind of dignity that such an office needs, arguing that what if she was found not guilty and would have to return to her official duties and has these kind of terms hanging over her head following the work of the tribunal.
And was this directed to the Council of Unite Behind or just in general?
This is directed to the complainant, hashtag Unite Behind. Remember, they are stating or alleging rather that she had a dual status of a judge and a chairperson of interim PRASA board. And then, of course, the second charge deals with the alleged conduct while being the chairperson of the PRASA board, alleging that her conduct was that of a person that was allegedly aiding state capture at the state-owned entity. So that is a serious allegation to make against a judge, and it is the council's position that they don't have any evidence to support these terms such as alleged intentional furtherance of an illicit purpose there at PRASA. They don't have any evidence before the tribunal, just these terms being thrown around. Of course, they said to the tribunal not to entertain or come to this invitation to assess whether the testimony of the judge was honest or not. A lot of those issues being brought to task regarding the impact these kind of terms will have beyond the work of the tribunal and beyond its findings when that is completed, we expect, before the next sitting of the JSC, which will be in October 2024.
And then insofar as the complainant is concerned, what evidence did they produce, at least on that allegation that she was there to further a certain kind or some type of state capture within PRASA at the time?
Well, I mean, this is about 4 years at least of the tribunal sitting and having hearings. So the complainant has dealt with it in the sense of, remember, in the October 2017 period up until I think January 2018, when it was assumed that that particular group would be starting their term or assuming their official duties, Unite Behind had been raising the alarm of what they believed to be a dual status of someone being allegedly both a judge and a chairperson of the interim board. For that, they submitted their evidence that they had, that is the correspondence that they had, that is the presidential minutes. And of course, there's 2 minutes, so the tribunal will have to decide which is the correct one. Is it the one when she was supposed to assume her duties in January of 2018 and didn't because of the concerns that she had raised to the JP, or is it the later one that was issued and then she started later in the following year? And of course, there were a number of witnesses from PRASA that came to testify about the alleged misconduct at the state-owned entity, talking about the alleged settling of claims, acting in the best interest of PRASA, talking about the engagements with the opposing counsel for CIA, that company that had been accused of corruption, and there was the settling of that issue. So there is quite a number of witnesses that came through in the record and explained the alleged interference, the alleged dedication to settle those claims, to ensure that they were allegedly paid out, and fingered the suspended judge as the individual allegedly behind all of these acts. So it is against that backdrop that hashtag Unite Behind has argued that if the reasonable person were to go before the suspended judge, would they come to the conclusion or have public confidence in the judiciary if a candidate of this nature was presiding over their litigation? And of course, they are arguing for the toughest sanction against the suspended judge, which would be the one of gross misconduct. And of course, if that body comes to that conclusion and recommends that to the JSC, and the JSC actually makes that finding, then of course we are now in the realm of impeachment, and it could lead to the suspended judge's removal from office.
It will be interesting to see how the tribunal rules. Thank you very much, Canny, for joining us this afternoon. That's SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga speaking to us, just sharing the very latest on that Judicial Conduct Tribunal.